Hi, it's Joe Mazumdar from Exploration Insights. I'm at the September edition of the Metals Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada, and with me is Olav Langelaar. He is the VP of Corporate Development for Gladiator Metals. Olav?
Nice to meet you, Joe. Thanks to be here.
Gladiator Metals is a stock we've held in the portfolio for almost a couple of years now, and it's a Yukon project, but without the Yukon cost. Can you give us a little bit of background about Gladiator and the properties that make up the Whitehorse Copper Project?
Absolutely. So we're situated right outside of Whitehorse. Cowley Park is our flagship asset where we're delineating a resource at this time. It's about 17 kilometers south of Whitehorse. We have access through the Alaska Highway, as well as the Copper Hall Road, which was a historic mining road that led there. Going further north, as we get closer to Whitehorse, we have the Arctic Chief Trend. And then a little south of that was the Little Chief and Middle Chief Trend, which were the historic mines that I think probably funded the development of Whitehorse from 67 to 82. So a Hud Bay operation. And then going north, we go to the Arctic Chief Trend, which is our third exploration target.
And this is all very strange because, I worked in the Yukon, mostly Ross River and Faro back in the late 80s, and I've gone through Whitehorse, and I've never known that an actual mine was that close to Whitehorse, and there's an actual tailings that's been rehabilitated that's right there. So that was very strange to me that you could actually operate in the Yukon without spending $900 per meter to actually drill. Your costs are...
We're $250 a meter Canadian. That's all in, everything. And correct, the mine did run from 67 to 82. And there are still some historic tailings, in the vicinity outside of our claim package.
And so this is a big, long copper skarn with moly, silver, and some gold credits, depending on the area. But the idea with exploration right now is to build up tons by finding centers of skarn mineralization that work, Cowley Park being the first, which is what you got 2 rigs on that?
2 rigs, yeah.
And then you've got another couple of rigs looking for the next one, which I believe is the Chief Trend?
Yes. So we have Cowley Park. We're busy actually delineating a resource. We have good visibility on coming up with a resource, hopefully by Q2 2026 or late Q1 2026 even.
Right. And this is predominantly open pit.
This is the target is open pittable. Yes, correct. And that's a copper, moly, silver, gold skarn, and it's got actually really interesting moly grades, nice silver grades as well. Very low on the gold side. Then as we go further north, then we hit the Little Chief, Middle Chief Trend, which was the site of the historic mine, which was all reclaimed. It was shut down in 82 on the oil crisis. And Hud Bay just walked away from everything. I think one key part of the whole land package is that it's been privately held for 40 years, so nobody did any work on it. And so we did our first fence of holes to try to understand what's going on at the Little Chief, Middle Chief. There's still historic resources there. However, the Valerie Trend to the west was brand new blind discovery with geophysics. And our first 5 of the first 8 holes, the other 3 haven't been assayed yet, but have all hit mineralization and some very interesting intercepts. So first, I think as we say, it's a technical success. We've hit mineralization all along the trend, and now we're just trying to understand how that fits. And then further north, we have the best chance grafter as part of the Arctic Chief Trend, which we have sort of, let's say, bookended resource drilling about 1,200 meters apart with geophysics to support in between, and that's larger than Cowley Park. So those are the 3, let's call them prospective clusters we have with Cowley Park well on its way, trying to understand the Middle Chief, Little Chief geology, and then best chance grafter in the Arctic Chief Trend looks like the next one.
And even though the drilling is cheap, you're well funded. Additionally, you've raised money consistently, and you're funded almost to the end of next year.
Yeah, I think that's the current thinking. We have we just raised an additional $22.5 million, which we just closed in September, basically around Beaver Creek. That funds most of next year's program. We still have an additional $8 million or $7.5 million to fund the program from now till basically the end of December. So a lot of flow through there. And we're still trying to get to about 28,000 additional meters. We started the year thinking we're going to do 27. We've hit 30,000, and now we're going to do another 28 and try to get that all through before the end of the year.
Yeah, in my letter, I stopped quoting you on the meterage.
Yes, we're not upholding our end of the deal. Yeah.
So always like in this part of the world, BC, Yukon, and probably all over Canada, First Nation social license to operate is a big deal. What is the comparative advantage of the Whitehorse Copper Project? Because some people that say it's too close to Whitehorse, for all the benefits of a lower cost, no camp and that. Where's the comparative advantage of the Whitehorse Copper Project?
So I think the big advantage is right out of the gate. Jason, our executive team, CEO, recognized we needed First Nation support. The Kwanlundun are the primary First Nations in our area. They're actually a very small group population-wise. They're about 1,000 members, about 500 around the Whitehorse area. We funded them with a capacity funding agreement. We've always had a very open and fluid dialogue with them. I've sat in on meetings where when we do our permitting, we sit down with them and say, here's what we'd like to do. What do you guys think? What do we have to adjust? So when we actually do our permit applications, a lot of times we do them kind of concurrently. So we're not really doing a consultation post an application. It's already been vetted by them before. We're working on an impacts benefit agreement for them. We're hoping to, these things take time, but there's we've made some pretty strong strides on that here as of late. The other component to the Kwanlundun support is the treaty settlement. They just completed their 20th anniversary, so we don't have unsettled land claims like a lot of Canada does. We have, everybody knows the rules of engagement. We know what the rules are, as do they, and we work within that framework. They're also a very commercial group, and so the vendors of our asset, the Coyne family or Kluane Drilling members, they are also on the economic board of the Kwanlundun. And so we have a very integrated relationship and a very continual dialogue with them on all fronts.
And they have an equity stake in Gladiator?
No, not at this point.
Okay.
No, not at this point. But that's an ultimate objective, I think.
Right. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So the First Nation comes with the Coyne brothers being your representative into them.
Yeah, I think I wouldn't say they're our representative. I think our representative are Marcus and Jason directly, typically. But if we need a little extra support or they need to understand something, they might lean on the Coynes a little bit.
So right now, for our viewers, what should we expect going forward from your well-funded program, let's say over the next 6 to 12 months?
Right. So I think the objective was that late Q1, early Q2 of 2026, we put a resource on Cowley Park. And I think what we've had occurring recently is we've drilled into the intrusive first deep holes. We hit significant mineralization. I think we did 50 meters of 0.7 copper in an area that we thought was previously unmineralized. So that sort of, now we always knew we were open at depth. Now we know we're mineralized at depth. And so that's worth a follow-up. We still haven't drilled the extents of Cowley Park. That's an objective for the rest of the year. So I think depending on the drilling success, if we find we do a big step out and it's still open, we would probably continue to drill and defer the resource. However, if we start thinking, hey, this is, we're going to get 40, 50 million tons and it's starting to look like it's being somewhat constrained, we would probably release a resource.
Right. And in the meantime, you're bringing on the next one.
Yes. And so while we're busy drilling Cowley Park, both from a resource perspective, infill perspective, and doing the extensions, we're also continuing to call it kind of scout drilling. So we're trying to understand what's going on in the Little Chief, Middle Chief trend. We'll drill a series of fences, 4 or 5 fences like we just recently completed, understand the geology, see if there's actually a bigger target there, and then a little further drilling at Arctic Chief in the best chance grafter to try to tie that 1.2 kilometers of strike together. I
think for me, what's interesting is it's not just re-drilling and drilling what's known, you're actually finding new stuff that was never mined, especially the endoskarn stuff that's in the intrusion and stuff that almost looks porphyry style in the Valerie trend, which opens up a potential new dimension.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think we've done aeromagnetics and gravity EM, and it's lit up targets that we had never seen before. And there's a lot of, as you've been to site, you drive the haul road, you see copper outcrop everywhere. Now it's just like, okay, let's try to string this together. And the geophysics has been a fantastic support tool to do that.
Right. All right. Well, thank you very much, Olav.
Thank you, Joe.
Cheers. That's Olav Langelaar, VP Corporate Development for Gladiator Metals, a grassroots copper explorer in the southern Yukon. without the infrastructural challenges of some others. And that's it for me, Joe Mazumdar, Exploration Insights, at the September edition of the Metals Investment Forum in Vancouver, Canada. Thank you for watching.